I remember just all of us huddled up, staring at the senior runner. He had just ran his last race, and man, this guy was like the guy we looked up to. He would make people cry at the finish line because he would just swoosh right past it. First place, like insane stamina. I remember him vaguely looking at all of our eyes and saying, "You guys got this. Y'all been running for this. Y'all have been practicing with me. Like, I know y'all. I know y'all can have the stamina. I want you to push through." It was just very athletic, encouraging words. I barely know this dude, yet like he has such an ability to just make me tick. I ran that race like with enthusiasm. You see, we had already been practicing. We had already been running. We had already been stretching, eating properly, drinking properly. Like, we were ready for this race. So what he was telling us was nothing that we didn't know, but there's just something so impactful about whenever a person just takes their time to kind of like put the mirror in front of you and just tell you, "Hey, did you forget what you can do? Did you forget who you are?" And especially like at those times whenever like the test is coming up, or whenever the meet or the fight, whatever athletic realm or whatever thing you're doing, like whenever like game day happens, like of course like we all know that feeling, and then having that person in your corner who has already been there. They're very calm. They see a bigger picture, and for them to describe that picture back to you, it's almost like a sense of relief. It's like almost like you ground yourself back again, and you're like, wow, I can actually achieve this. I remember he was like one of the first people that I've ever felt that pour into my mind, into my belief of who I am and what I could have accomplished just that day. He was such an impactful person in that area of our season. If I'm being honest, more than the coach. My name is William. We encourage young people online to become self-aware, to find better communities. But to do that, it starts with the self. I believe it's very important to try new things, like experience new things, like this broccoli cheddar mac and cheese. It can be small, it can be large. Whatever it is, once you learn to keep going and grow, it can so easily pour over into other areas of your life. It doesn't really matter what you push yourself to do for the first time. It's the little accumulated actions that really create a big structure for your belief. These new experiences and these new challenges truly build confidence. On my very first day of cross country practice, it was like 5 in the morning, and it was like 30 to 50 kids, like all like coordinating to like, "Oh, you're running so and so, you're running up to here, you're following." So the coach never got to me, so I kind of just ran with the crowd. At the checkpoint, the coach was like, "Are you okay? Do you want me to drive you back?" I said no, like I'm gonna finish. And it wasn't really because I think I'm a big shot. It's just more than anything because in my head, I was already gonna do this regardless. Like it wasn't like this enormous task that was at place. Like, ignorance is truly bliss. Never in my life had I ever ran 4 miles. But here's the thing, no one ever told me that I couldn't. That's what the varsity was running, and I was just a freshman. And that's the beauty about this, is like once you set your mind to do something, like it is almost nearly impossible for anyone to stop you, of course except yourself. And that's why it is such a perspective. And look, the journey doesn't get any shorter. The adversities don't stop coming. The obstacles are going to keep showing up. I mean, if anything, it just got harder because now you're actually doing something. You're stepping. So something is bound to get in front of your way. But you see, it's that self-belief that when things go left, you're thinking about going right all the time. It just creates an energy that just makes you feel alive. when the encouragement is happening, when you pour belief onto the person, you're talking about alternative endings, about different routes, different outcomes. You should really let them make their own decision. It is very important for them to build their own self-belief. We highly encourage for you to encourage someone to grow their own wings. Encouragement is an act of giving, whether if it's direct or indirect. But hey, let's be intentional around here. It's almost like you're laying out a vision that can't be seen. And it can seem kind of twisted to the person, like, are you wanting to help me? Like, are you making this harder? Because in essence, you're creating an obstacle out of thin air, a goal to be more exact. The encourage happens by explaining to the person how they can achieve this target. This person already can achieve this target with or without the person. Unfortunately, sometimes this person is very much needed. And those words of encouragement are what can set a person apart, is that community that the person can put themselves into. Surrounding yourself in a community that believes what you believe, someone to look at you and be like, hey, you're not crazy. Like, keep doing what you're doing. The most powerful thing about these type of communities is that together you can imagine a world that doesn't exist. The brainstorming, the bouncing off ideas can just be so moving. It's like unlocking each other's greatnesses. And it's not that those greatnesses were never there in the first place. It's just that they needed some words of encouragement. It needed some water. Something needed to be poured into these seeds, because clearly we couldn't do it ourselves. And that's why communities are so important. I mean, I can see why it's hard in today's world to trust anyone, but we believe that it is crucial to at least have one person in your life that you can trust, and not necessarily with like your deepest, darkest secrets. Someone that you can trust that they just have the best intentions for you. We are so easy to point out everybody else's flaws, but not ours. And listen, that's a good thing. We think highly of ourselves, but let's not be hypocrites. We can all always grow in every area of our life. Encourage is not really a one size fits all. Some people like it straight to the point, and some other people just want a soft blow. What matters is delicately and intentionally pouring into the person the right way. A true encouraging relationship cares at deeper levels than just the superficial. Yes, words are powerful, but if we don't take our time to understand what they're going through, what they're thinking, what place in life they are right now, it is so easy to side with them that honestly is just cliche. That's honestly just something that people say to make themselves feel better. This isn't either something that you have to ponder on, like, what am I gonna tell them? Like, what can I possibly say? If we care, we care. You could tell them the most goofiest backwards saying that they've ever heard, but because they can feel you, because they recognize you, and because they trust you, it is going to impact them at a deeper level than just words. Encouraging words are not what you want to hear. It's what you need to hear. By having a trusting relationship, you in a way have an accountability partner. You have someone who has all your trust to stop you mid-tracks and tell you, listen. And by the way, someone holding you accountable is not the same as someone attacking you. We very much have to recognize these valuable relationships that just stumbled across your life, and you might be pushing them away when honestly they just care so much that they're willing to fight for you, that they're willing to almost lose the friendship just to see you better. The person who is encouraging you is not better than you. They're not this person that you should put on a pedestal. It's just somebody that's wanting to explain to you the best way possible that you have the pen in your hand and you get to write this story.